Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
I did that video not so long ago about that small town that fired its entire police force. And now we've got some fallout. John sent me, Steve, check this out. Coffee City drivers ask, how can you say those tickets are trustworthy after police department deactivated? Ashlyn Anderson wrote this story for KETK. 1 week after Coffee City deactivated their police department and fired their police chief, many drivers who've been pulled over say they want their speeding tickets dropped. Well, I got news for you. Just contest the ticket and see if the cop shows up, because I have a sneaky feeling many of them won't. And that's one of the rare occasions where it will probably get dismissed because he ain't there and he probably ain't coming, okay? So I intended to come up here with the hopes of getting the ticket dismissed since they dismissed all of their policemen, said a man who was at City Hall to contest a ticket. He went into City Hall with the hopes to challenge the citation on Wednesday, and he said, I just paid them $315 to get a deferred adjudication. A Coffee City resident also said he has $11,000 worth of tickets that he said were given unlawfully. One guy, $11,000 worth of tickets. I'm not sure quite what that's all about, but we'll see. He said it caused him to plead guilty to each offense. I feel like I wouldn't have won that battle because it's me against a whole police department. And they're more than likely going to believe a whole police department before they believe me. So, don't know about his case, but if you got a ticket from the Coffee City Police Department, the city secretary said you have to pay the ticket or go to trial like you normally would. But like I said, contest the ticket. How can they have a policeman being a witness that they've terminated or suspended or whatever you call it? What quality of a witness would that be? Said the first guy talking there. And here's the deal. The question is, will they show up? Because they're not on the clock anymore. I highly doubt it. Amid this gray area, people feel that they shouldn't have to be punished. If they fired the cops that were in this town and they gave me those tickets, how can you say those tickets are trustworthy? Says the other guy who got the $11,000 worth of tickets. This leaves people wondering if they should take the matter to court or pay and move on. Take the matter to court. For now, it's business as usual when it comes to ticket deadlines. Of course, take care of the deadlines and follow those things carefully. As far as emergency calls go, the county sheriff said that since Monday, they have responded to 7 calls, which he said is not a lot of calls. So they've been taken care of there by the county sheriff. The county sheriff's office will continue to handle incidents out of Coffee City until a new department is activated. So apparently it's Henderson County taking care of stuff in town, and stuff outside of town will be Smith County. That's how that works. And by the way, I jokingly said, anytime I do a video, I can always find somebody with a contrary point of view. Someone will always weigh in and say, oh, by the way, I disagree with you. And I did the story about how this police department had gotten so bloated that people wondered why a small town had that many cops. And somebody actually commented and said, oh, now it's against the law to have too many police officers. And then asked rhetorically, what's the problem with too many police? Well, the problem is when you've got 1 cop for every 5 people in town, they're not policing the town. They're policing around the town and people who pass through the town. And when they've got to do things to justify their existence, they're going to start writing tickets. And they'll probably write more tickets per police officer and per capita than a typical police department. And at that point, they're just revenue generators. And I think most people will agree that police should be out there enforcing the law or serving and protecting, but to suggest that they should sit by the side of the road and tag out-of-towners with tickets, well, that's probably a bit too far. But hey, again, that's my opinion. Now, here's the deal. I've talked about this before. If you get a traffic ticket and you contest it and you go to court and the cop doesn't show, some people will say, oh, boom, you automatically win. That's not always the case. In many courts, they'll say, well, why isn't the police officer here? And they'll actually ask. I've actually seen it before. They call and they go, hey, someone call that police officer, see where he is. Oh, he's on his way. He'll be here in an hour. We'll wait for him. I've also seen it before where, oh, he called in sick today. It turns out he's asked for an adjournment. We're going to grant him one. And if you say, but hey, I'm here and he's not, they'll go, guess what? If you needed an adjournment, we'd give you one too. So we extend the courtesies both ways. I remember seeing an article written by somebody who wrote for an internet website who said, just keep adjourning your hearing and adjourn it as many times as you can. And finally, when they do get your case so you can't adjourn it anymore, the odds of your cop showing up are pretty slim, and when the cop doesn't show up, you'll win. Not true. Again, that I can think of two courts in Michigan where I was, where a judge said, I don't care. If the cop's not here and there's a summons for him to be here, if the cop's not here, the case will be dismissed. As long as it's a traffic ticket. If it's a misdemeanor or something serious, no. And I've seen far too many cases where somebody goes, well, I'm here, Your Honor, but the cop's not here. Okay, find out where he is. Oh, he's not here, but he'll be here next week? Okay, we'll adjourn it to next week. Come back. And they can do that. So you can ask the court to dismiss your case, but you can't demand it. And every time I mention this, I'll get people saying, but Steve, I know of this one court in this one county in this one state, and I was there one time and the cop didn't show up and I got it dismissed. Yes, it does happen, but it's not a rule that you can live by where you can say, oh, the cop doesn't show, you will win. However, this one right here is like shooting fish in a barrel, figuratively speaking, because they just laid off all these cops. They just said, you're all terminated on very short notice, by the way. Most of those former cops aren't happy about it. If I had to guess, I don't know any of them. I could be wrong, but if I had to guess, I suspect they're not happy about what happened. So you contest the ticket you got recently in Coffee City because you did not blow the deadline. You contested, go, I want to be there. And you go there that day and you look around and you go talk to the prosecutor if you get a chance, or your attorney does, and you say, well, we're here to contest this. Is the officer here? And I have a sneaky feeling the prosecutor's going to have a whole stack of these things, basically waiting for people to walk in and ask that question. And no, the officer's not here. Well, it turns out you only had one complaining witness on that ticket, correct? Your one complaining witness is not here. Are they going to adjourn it and try to drag that officer in against his or her will? Oh, they're not? So you know they're probably not going to show. And they're going to have to dismiss a ton of these tickets. So as to how somebody got $11,000 worth of tickets, I have no clue. I have no idea. But one person says they got $11,000 worth of tickets. They said they paid them all and now wish they hadn't. But I'm telling you right now, I don't know how many people are out there in this particular category, but if you got a ticket, a speeding ticket, civil infraction, a couple miles an hour over, improper lane usage, disobey a stop sign, traffic sign, whatever it is, okay, a run-of-the-mill ticket, okay, and you have the chance to contest it, because this is one of those rare occasions where I'm pretty certain that the prosecutor's going to have to say, your officer's not here, it's your lucky day. Now, if that's not what happens, and if somebody actually contacts me and says, Steve, guess what? Prosecutor went out and dropped subpoenas on all of those cops and is dragging them all in against their will. My advice to you is still fight it. Because if you've got a disgruntled witness, depending on which way they've been gruntled, you can probably spin it one way or the other. There's a very good chance that there's going to be some officers, if they get dragged in, who are very unhappy to be there. So you may as well make them go through the motions and see what happens. But if I had to guess, if you said, Steve, put your money on this, you got to put your money down. The wheel's spinning, you got to put your money down somewhere. What's it going to be? I'm going to put it on the cops are gone. They know it. They can't push these through unless people plead to them or pay them by mail. And I would strongly urge you to not do those two things. If you have the time and the wherewithal, contest the ticket. Maybe talk to a local attorney about going in with you on this, because I've handled so many traffic tickets. I can tell you that attorneys who handle these don't charge a lot, but they can often get these things in and out really, really quickly and make it worth your while for whatever you pay them. So, John, thanks for sending that. We will see what happens. Coffee City drivers are asking, how can you say those tickets are trustworthy after the police department's deactivated? Better question I have is, will they show up for court dates that were caused by their tickets before they were all deactivated? Ashlyn Anderson wrote there for KETK. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. The pain you feel today is the strength you'll feel tomorrow.